Ed and Lorraine Warren didn't take the doll lightly. They had seen many cases, haunted houses, possessions, curses, but this one felt different, not because of what the doll did, but because of what it wanted. Permission. That one word made all the difference. In demonology, as the Warrens explained, evil doesn't just enter your home. It waits. It pretends. It earns your trust. It needs an invitation. And when Donna looked into that soft, stitched face and said, "You can stay with us," she gave it exactly what it needed. The Warrens took the doll that night, wrapped it in holy cloth, placed it inside a special wooden box. Lorraine whispered a prayer. Ed drove in silence. On the way home, the car stalled 3 times. The brakes failed. The power steering locked. Each time, the doll was in the back seat. Ed reached into the glove compartment, took out a vial of holy water, and sprinkled it onto the doll. The rest of the drive, smooth, silent, like nothing had happened. At home, they placed Annabelle in their office. A small room filled with haunted objects, each one stored in its own container, labeled and sealed. But Annabelle didn't stay quiet. The next morning, the crucifix on the wall was upside down. The room smelled like sulfur, and Lorraine had a nightmare so vivid she woke up with scratches on her wrist. Ed decided they couldn't keep her uncontained. They built a glass case, lined it with prayers, locked it with a key only Ed kept, and placed a sign, "Warning, do not open." People asked, why not destroy it? Why not burn it? The answer was simple. The object isn't the problem, the spirit attached to it is. Destroy the doll, and you release the entity. That's worse. So Annabelle stayed in silence, behind glass, still smiling. But silence doesn't mean peace. A young priest once visited the museum, arrogant, curious. He laughed at the doll, tapped the glass. "You're just a rag," he said. "Do something." Ed warned him, "Never challenge something you don't understand." The priest drove off that day, still laughing. But before he reached the highway, his car veered into a tree. He died instantly. In the wreckage, the police found his cross snapped in half and his fingernails broken, as if he had tried to claw his way out of something. Another story. A man and his girlfriend visited the museum. She was nervous. He wasn't. "It's all fake," he whispered. He banged on the glass, mocked the stories, laughed. On the ride home, his motorcycle lost control. He died on impact. She survived. Later, she told Lorraine, "Right before the crash, he said something I'll never forget. He said he felt like something was sitting behind him, pressing on his spine." Over the years, Annabelle became more than a story. She became a warning, not because she moves, or whispers, or attacks, but because she waits, quietly, for someone to forget what she is and invite her again. And Donna, she never forgot. She left nursing, moved to a different city, changed her number. Some say she never spoke about the doll again. But once, years later, she visited the Warren Museum in secret. She stood quietly and looked at the glass case. Lorraine asked her, "Do you want to speak to her?" Donna smiled, a tired, distant smile, and said, "No, I already did. Once. That was enough." "And you? What have you invited into your life without knowing it? What have you called harmless just because it smiled? Tonight you rest, but let your soul stay awake, just a little longer. Because not all silence is peace, and not all smiles are kind. Ed and Lorraine Warren didn't take the doll lightly. They had seen many cases, haunted houses, possessions, curses, but this one felt different. Not because of what the doll did, but because of what it wanted. Permission. That one word made all the difference. In demonology, as the Warrens explained, evil doesn't just enter your home. It waits. It pretends. It earns your trust. It needs an invitation. And when Donna looked into that soft, stitched face and said, "You can stay with us," she gave it exactly what it needed. The Warrens took the doll that night, wrapped it in holy cloth, placed it inside a special wooden box. Lorraine whispered a prayer. Ed drove in silence. On the way home, the car stalled 3 times. The brakes failed. The power steering locked. Each time, the doll was in the back seat. Ed reached into the glove compartment, took out a vial of holy water, and sprinkled it onto the doll. The rest of the drive? Smooth, silent, like nothing had happened. At home, they placed Annabelle in their office, a small room filled with haunted objects, each one stored in its own container, labeled and sealed. But Annabelle didn't stay quiet. The next morning, the crucifix on the wall was upside down. The room smelled like sulfur, and Lorraine had a nightmare so vivid she woke up with scratches on her wrist. Ed decided they couldn't keep her uncontained. They built a glass case, lined it with prayers, locked it with a key only Ed kept, and placed a sign, "Warning, do not open." People asked, "Why not destroy it? Why not burn it?" The answer was simple. The object isn't the problem, the spirit attached to it is. Destroy the doll, and you release the entity. That's worse. So Annabelle stayed in silence, behind glass, still smiling. But silence doesn't mean peace. A young priest once visited the museum, arrogant, curious. He laughed at the doll, tapped the glass. "You're just a rag," he said. "Do something." Ed warned him. "Never challenge something you don't understand." The priest drove off that day, still laughing, but before he reached the highway, his car veered into a tree. He died instantly. In the wreckage, the police found his cross snapped in half, and his fingernails broken, as if he had tried to claw his way out of something. Another story. A man and his girlfriend visited the museum. She was nervous. He wasn't. "It's all fake," he whispered. He banged on the glass, mocked the stories, laughed. On the ride home, his motorcycle lost control. He died on impact. She survived. Later, she told Lorraine, right before the crash, he said something I'll never forget. He said he felt like something was sitting behind him, pressing on his spine. Over the years, Annabelle became more than a story. She became a warning, not because she moves or whispers or attacks, but because she waits, quietly, for someone to forget what she is and invite her again. And Donna? She never forgot. She left nursing, moved to a different city, changed her number. Some say she never spoke about the doll again, but once, years later, she visited the Warren Museum in secret. She stood quietly and looked at the glass case. Lorraine asked her, "Do you want to speak to her?" Donna smiled, a tired, distant smile, and said, "No, I already did, once. That was enough." "And you? What have you invited into your life without knowing it? What have you called harmless just because it smiled? Tonight you rest, but let your soul stay awake just a little longer, because not all silence is peace, and not all smiles are kind." Before we begin tonight, take one deep breath. You're here, you're safe, you're ready. Let the world fade, and let the story carry you. Annabelle was not just a doll. She was a mirror, a reflection of fear, loneliness, and the spaces we forget to protect. After years behind glass, she remained still, or so it seemed. But those who looked closely, those who stayed long enough in the museum, would often say, "She wasn't like that when I came in. I think her head moved. Wasn't her hand down before?" Ed and Lorraine never claimed the doll moved. They simply said, "We never look away from her for too long." The museum itself became a sanctuary, not of peace, but of containment. Each artifact in that room had a story, a curse, a wound, but none attracted more visitors than Annabelle. Some came to pray, some came to challenge, some just wanted a picture. One man, quiet, middle-aged, eyes full of shadows, walked into the museum alone. He asked no questions. He just stood before the glass, watching her. Lorraine approached him. "Do you know her story?" she asked. He nodded. "I lost my daughter 3 years ago," he said. "She looked just like this doll, the same red hair, the same face. When I saw her here, I thought maybe there's something left." Lorraine said nothing. She didn't need to. The man stared a while longer, then whispered, "I don't think she's evil. I think she's misunderstood." Later that evening, the museum lights flickered, just once. When Ed walked into the room, Annabelle's case had a fingerprint on the inside of the glass. These are not stories meant to frighten. They are stories meant to slow you down, to make you wonder. Because every day we label things quickly: safe, dangerous, normal, insane. But what if what's truly dangerous is what we accept without asking? What if the most powerful spirits are not the loud ones, but the quiet ones we invite, with good intentions? There was a time when Lorraine said, "Annabelle doesn't want attention, she wants connection." And that's the most dangerous desire of all. You see, the scariest part of Annabelle's story isn't what she did. It's what she made others do. Donna gave her trust. Lou gave his fear. The priest gave his arrogance. The biker gave his laughter. And you gave her your attention. But it's okay. You're not alone. Not every story needs a clear ending. Some stories are meant to echo. Tonight, let this echo reach only your dreams. Let it be soft. Let it be slow. Let it remind you to look twice at what smiles back at you. And if you ever see something that looks harmless, ask yourself, did I give it permission? Sleep now. Let the voice fade. Let the silence take over, because sometimes silence is safer than answers. Good night, and may your dreams be yours. Are you still here? Good. That means you made it through the story. You heard the name, you felt the weight. You followed the silence all the way to this moment. But now, we stop talking about Annabelle and start talking about you. Because the truth is, this story wasn't really about a doll. It never was. It was about what we welcome, what we excuse, what we hold on to, long after we should have let go. Sometimes evil doesn't knock. It smiles. It sits quietly. It offers comfort. It hides behind fabric and yarn and soft stitched eyes. And it says, I'm harmless. Let me in. How many things in your life have you called harmless just because they didn't scream? How many times have you ignored your intuition because something looked familiar, safe, comforting? Annabelle is just one story, but maybe you have your own. Maybe it's not a doll. Maybe it's a thought, a habit, a person. Maybe it's a voice you allowed inside your head years ago, and now you're trying to get it out. But you don't need to fight it tonight. You don't need to resist. You don't need to name it. You just need to see it for what it is. And then, without anger, you can say softly, you don't belong here anymore. Not with force, just with truth. This is not a story of fear. This is a story of boundaries, of spiritual responsibility, of how easily light and dark can look the same until we pause long enough to notice. So tonight, don't be afraid of the shadows in your room. Don't fear the quiet, because silence doesn't always mean danger, and movement doesn't always mean life. Let the silence speak to you now, not about Annabelle, but about you, your home, your soul, your peace. Let go of the names, let go of the images, let go of the what-ifs, and let your breath become steady, like waves, like rain on a window, like wind moving through old curtains. You are not haunted, you are just remembering, and memory is only scary when you run from it. Tonight, let the memory stay, but let the fear go. Tonight, sleep is not an escape. It's a return. Return to your body. Return to your heart. Return to the part of you that never needed to be afraid. And if any fear remains, place it outside your mind, as if placing Annabelle back behind the glass, locked, blessed, and done. You are safe. You are not alone, and nothing enters without your permission anymore. So, let your breathing slow. Let your chest rise gently and fall even softer. Let your eyes drift away until this story becomes mist, until this voice fades, until you are home inside yourself again. Good night. And if you dream, may your dreams be peaceful, and may nothing knock on the door unless you ask it to. Let's stay here a little longer. You're already halfway between waking and sleep. That soft space where memory and imagination blur, where the world feels gentler and voices don't demand. They just echo. Let's stay in that space together. You've heard Annabelle's story, but do you know what stories like hers really are? They're reminders, not of evil, but of the power we give away, sometimes willingly, sometimes unknowingly. Every time you ignore your gut feeling, every time you say yes when your soul says no, every time you laugh off something that doesn't feel quite right, you're handing over a key, a little one, small, silent, but powerful. Annabelle is not just a warning. She's a symbol of what happens when we treat spiritual things like toys, when we reduce energy to entertainment, when we turn fear into fun, and forget that not everything meant to be played with is harmless. But you're not here to be afraid. You're here to remember, to reclaim, to re-center. There's something beautiful about silence, and something terrifying too, because silence is where your thoughts live, your truth, your forgotten instincts. You know them, you feel them right now. That tightness in your chest when something feels off, that sinking feeling in your stomach when you meet someone you don't trust, that chill on your skin when a place doesn't want you there. We've all felt it, but we were taught to ignore it, to smile, to be polite, to be logical. But your body, your intuition, they knew before you ever learned words. Annabelle is just a vessel. She carries fear because we put it there. She holds power because we gave it. And you've carried things too. Stories, emotions, weights that don't belong to you anymore. Maybe tonight, you're ready to put some of them down. You don't need rituals. You don't need dramatic endings. You just need awareness. Maybe this podcast isn't just a story. Maybe it's a mirror. Maybe it's here to reflect what's been lingering in your corners. The thoughts you put in glass cases. The memories you labeled, do not open. But tonight, you can look at them, not with fear, but with grace. You are not haunted. You are human. And humans carry things. But we can also let them go. Let your mind wander now to the place you first learned to feel fear. A childhood room, a dark hallway, a silent stare from someone who should have protected you. Just visit it. Don't fix it. Just see it. And then breathe. Let your breath reach that place. Let it soften it. Let it whisper, "You are not in control of me anymore." That's what stories like this are truly about. Not about the doll, but about the door. Who gets to come in? Who stays out? And who no longer gets to take up space inside you? Breathe now, in through your nose. Hold, and let go. Let go of the guilt. Let go of the questions. Let go of the voice that said you shouldn't believe what you felt. And let sleep begin to unfold itself, like a quiet blanket pulled over your shoulders by something invisible, but kind. You're doing well, you're safe, you're strong, not because you fight, but because you feel. And tonight, you felt something ancient, not fear, but awareness. Sleep now, but sleep awake. Awake to your power. Awake to your right to say, "This is my space, my peace, my silence." And not even Annabelle gets to enter that without your permission. Shh! Don't speak. Don't try. You've done enough today. Just be here. With me. With the silence. Let's pretend not that the world disappeared, but that you chose to step outside it for a little while. No notifications. No past. No plans. Only breath and awareness. Let's go somewhere else now. Not back to the doll, not back to fear, but to a room inside you. You've been there before, but maybe you forgot it existed. It has no walls, it has no door. It's made of memory and dust and silence, but it's yours. And in the middle of it, there's a box, old, unlabeled, untouched for years. You never opened it because you didn't need to, or maybe because you were afraid of what was inside. But tonight, you're not afraid. You're tired, and tired people finally let go. So, walk closer, gently, no rush. Sit down in front of it. You don't need to open it yet. You don't even need to know what's inside. Just acknowledge it. Say, I see you. That's it. Sometimes the most powerful healing doesn't come from doing. It comes from witnessing. What if that box is your Annabelle? What if you've been carrying something for so long, you forgot you were even carrying it? A memory, a fear, a belief that was never really yours. Maybe it came from your childhood. Maybe it came from someone you trusted. Maybe it came from a silence you didn't choose. But it's here. And tonight, you're brave enough to look at it, not to fight it, not to fix it, just to be with it. There's power in that. That's what the Warrens did with Annabelle. They didn't destroy her. They didn't hide from her. They saw her and said, you can't go any further than this. That's a boundary. And you can do the same with your own darkness. Not everything needs to be erased. Some things just need to be placed in a glass case behind a quiet prayer. Inhale, hold, exhale. Your body is sinking. Not down, but into your center, into that still place where nothing chases you. Only you and your breath exist here. Do you remember what peace feels like? It's not loud, it's not perfect, it's soft, imperfect, like an old song playing far away in another room. Like rain on the window that you don't want to end. That's where we are now. And in this space, you are untouched, unhaunted, unclaimed. Let your fingers loosen. Let your jaw soften. Let your thoughts slow until they stretch like shadows at sunset. No story controls you. No past defines you. And no object, no matter how cursed, gets to speak louder than your own spirit. You are not just a listener, you're the author now. If you could write one sentence inside that box you found, what would it be? Think slowly, gently. Maybe something like, I forgive what I once feared, or I no longer carry what doesn't belong to me. Write it in your mind, place it gently into the box, and close the lid. Not with anger, not with fear, but with peace. You've done something powerful tonight. Not by finishing the story, but by letting it transform. You're no longer Annabelle's witness. You're your own, and that is everything. It's quiet now, even quieter than before. The kind of quiet that makes you unsure if you're awake or already dreaming. But let's not define it. Let's not label this moment as sleep or consciousness. Let's just float. Imagine you're walking through a hallway, old wood beneath your feet, dim light above, no doors, only walls filled with frames. Each frame holds a version of you, the smiling one, the lost one, the brave one, the one who said nothing when they should have screamed. They all look back at you, not with judgment, but with understanding. You pause, not because you're afraid, but because you finally recognize how far you've come. At the end of the hallway, there's a mirror, not a scary one, not distorted, just clean, simple, still. You walk closer, and in the reflection you don't see Annabelle. You don't see a doll. You see yourself, but lighter, like something has been removed, not erased, just put down. The weight, the story, the old echo of fear, gone. You blink, and suddenly you're in a field, grass under your hands, sky above your face, and in the distance, a small box, the same one from earlier, except now it's open. And inside, nothing but a folded piece of paper. You walk to it. You open the paper. It says, "Thank you for seeing me." You smile. Maybe it was the fear speaking. Maybe it was a memory. Maybe it was a part of you that waited so long to be noticed, and now finally rests. You sit in the field. Everything is still. There's no wind, no voices, just warmth and space. The kind of space where healing begins. Not loud, not fast, but real. You lie down. The grass cradles you. The sky covers you. And for the first time in a long time, you feel safe without explaining why. The story fades. The images dissolve. No more glass boxes, no more haunted dolls. Just you, whole. Sometimes, the real exorcism isn't from a ghost, but from a thought that lived too long in silence. And tonight, you gave it a name, a shape, a goodbye. You're lighter now. Breathe. Don't even try. Let your body do it for you. You are being breathed by the night, by peace, by something ancient and kind. You are not falling asleep. You are being carried there. And this voice, it's not guiding you anymore. It's simply walking beside you until you don't need it. So if you start to forget what this story was about, that's okay. You've already taken what you needed. The rest can fade, like a dream you barely remember but still changes you. And when you wake up, you may not even remember this podcast, but your body will. It always does. You're still here. Even after the story faded, you're still floating. That means something. It means this wasn't about a haunted doll. It was about a haunted memory. Yours. The one you stopped talking about. Because it made people uncomfortable. Because no one knew what to do with your silence. But I'm not afraid of your silence. I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to sit beside you, as long as it takes. Can I ask you something? When was the last time you felt completely unseen? Not just ignored in a room, but invisible to people who should have known better, to people who said they cared, to people who looked at you, but never really saw you. I know that feeling. It settles in your chest like dust, like something you forgot to clean, because you were too busy surviving. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to explain. You just have to let me sit here with you in the quiet. That's enough. That's always been enough. And maybe the real reason Annabelle's story stayed with you is because you know what it feels like to hold something dark inside you and smile anyway, to say I'm fine when you're full of static, to be the one who listens to everyone else but doesn't know how to ask for the same. But listen closely now. There's nothing wrong with you, nothing broken, nothing possessed. You are not a project. You're not a puzzle. You're not too much. You're a story, still being written, still unfolding. And every breath you take is another line, another soft declaration that says, I'm still here. And I matter. I know you've forgiven people who never said sorry. I know you've carried burdens that weren't yours. I know you've smiled through storms because no one had an umbrella for you. But I also know this, you're still soft, still kind, still open, even after everything. And that is your power. So tonight, don't think too hard. Don't try to heal. Don't try to make it all make sense. Just be held by the dark, by this voice, by the warmth under your blanket, by the stillness of being enough. You're not being forgotten. You're being remembered by the one person who needed to remember you all along. You. Let your breath stay soft. Let your thoughts stay gentle. Let your chest feel what it feels, without controlling it. If it's grief, let it sit. If it's peace, let it stay. If it's just quiet, that's okay too. You don't need to wake up fixed. You just need to wake up less alone. And you will. You already have. getting quieter now. Your thoughts are slowing, your body sinking deeper into the bed. You've carried so much today, and somehow you made it here, still breathing, still listening, still open to the softness of this moment. Let's not say much now. Let's not explain, just breathe. Let the silence between these words hold you more than the words themselves. The room is dark, but it's the good kind of dark, the kind that protects, the kind that says, you don't have to perform anymore. No one's watching, no one's judging. You can just exist. Inhale, exhale. That's enough now. Think of one moment today where you felt tired, but you smiled anyway. That small smile, it counts. It mattered. Even if no one noticed, I noticed. You're allowed to put that mask down now. You don't need it here. Let the space around you become heavier, softer, slower, like mist, like cotton, like the breath of something ancient that remembers you before you ever said your first word. Do you remember the story we told? Maybe yes, maybe no, but that doesn't matter anymore, because stories are just doors. And this one, it led you here, to this bed, this breath, this stillness. And whatever you thought you had to carry into sleep, you don't. You can leave it at the door, like wet shoes after a long storm, like a heavy coat you no longer need. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw unclench. Let your thoughts drip into the pillow like ink, slowly dissolving in water. There's nothing to remember now. No name, no voice, no fear, no weight, just the hum beneath your ribcage, the quiet music of your own being. You don't need to earn sleep. You don't need to understand everything first. You don't need to finish healing before you rest. You're allowed to rest while broken. You're allowed to rest while uncertain. You're allowed to rest simply because you're tired. And you are tired, not weak, just tired. And that is holy. So let's make a deal. Right now you don't owe the world anything. Not your clarity, not your energy, not your explanation. The world can wait. Your only job now is to breathe. And if a thought comes in, let it pass, like wind through an open window. No need to chase it. No need to stop it. Just let it come and let it go, like a tide, like a sigh, like this voice that's still here, but not for long, because even I am getting sleepy. And when I go silent, you'll still be held by the darkness, by the stillness, by your own breath. You made it to this part of the night where nothing else needs to happen. No decisions, no regrets, just breath and soft, slow silence. Let go now, deeper. Let sleep take you the rest of the way. You're safe. You're not alone. And you're exactly where you're meant to be. You're still floating, not in air, not in water, but in something softer, like memory, before it becomes thought, like love, before it needs words. You're not asleep yet, but you're not awake either. You're somewhere in between, the safest place you've ever known, inside yourself. Can we stay here just a little longer? No need to speak, no need to think. Just feel the bed beneath you. the space around you, the quiet inside your chest. Can you hear it? That small sound, like the hum of a universe that exists just for you. There's nothing I need to teach you now. No final lesson, no twist ending. Because all the real things you needed to hear, you already did. They didn't come from me. They came from inside you. I was just a mirror. You were the voice. Every moment of silence in this story was yours. Every pause was you catching your breath. Every sentence that made your eyes sting was your own heart finally being heard. So if you forget my voice tomorrow, that's okay. It was never really mine anyway. It was just your voice sounding like someone else, so that you'd finally believe it. You've traveled far tonight, from haunted dolls to haunted memories to the softest places in your own soul. You didn't escape anything. You walked through it. You didn't run from fear. You looked at it, then laid it down and walked away. You won't remember everything. You don't have to. What matters will stay. And now, let go even of the story. Let go of the meaning. Let go of understanding. Just float. Let the silence speak now. Let it tell you what I no longer can. Inhale gently. Feel your body surrender. Exhale even slower. Feel your spirit soften. There is no more story. There is no more voice. There is no more need. Sleep now, deeply, quietly, completely. Let the world fade. Let the stars spin above you without your worry. Let the ghosts go home. And let your breath be the only sound left in the room. You are safe. You are loved. You are held, not by this voice, not by this story, but by something greater, something that knows your name, even in the dark, even in the silence. And now, no more words, just stillness, just you. Good night, forever good night. Some minds were taught to always stay alert, to listen for danger, to hold the door just in case someone knocks again. Maybe yours is one of them. You're not broken. You're not too much. You just have a heart that stayed awake for too long, a heart that got used to carrying what others put down. So let me ask you, since we're both still here, what are you afraid will happen if you truly let go? What story are you still holding on to, just in case no one else remembers it? You don't have to answer. I don't need to know, but you do. Because maybe this podcast was never about a haunted doll, or healing, or fear. Maybe it was just about slowing down long enough to finally hear your own voice beneath the noise. And now that we're here, together, in this silence, let's honor that voice. Say it with me, gently. I'm tired, but I'm safe. I'm quiet, but I'm not alone. I'm healing, even if it doesn't look like it. No one needs to see it. No one needs to clap for your progress. Your body knows. Your breath knows. The stillness around you knows. You're doing it. Even now, even here. So if your thoughts are still moving, don't fight them, don't chase them. Just imagine them as clouds. Let them pass, let them form, let them fade. And you stay still, Not numb, not empty, just still. If your chest is heavy, don't rush to lift it. Maybe it just needs one last cry before it releases the weight. If your throat is tight, don't force it to open. Maybe it's holding a word that was never safe to say out loud. And if your body feels tense, don't command it to relax. Just whisper, "It's okay. We don't have to protect everything anymore." There's no rule that says sleep has to come fast, or soft, or graceful. Some nights, sleep is a slow surrender, a climb down from years of carrying too much. And even if you don't make it all the way tonight, you climbed, and that counts. So stay here as long as you need. No pressure, no expectations, no final goal. Let your mind be what it is. Let your body rest however it wants. Let your spirit unravel slowly, like thread between gentle fingers. And if you're still awake in 5 minutes, I'll still be here, saying nothing, doing nothing, just staying, because sometimes that's all healing needs, someone to stay, even in silence. This part, it isn't a story. It's not about Annabelle. It's not about fear. It's about you and what remains when all the noise fades away. You might feel heavy, but that heaviness isn't wrong. It's not failure. It's just your body telling the truth, telling you, "I'm tired. Let me land." Think of yourself like a boat that's been sailing for years, crossing storms, carrying others, never stopping long enough to feel the quiet. And now, for the first time in forever, you've dropped the anchor. You're not drifting anymore. You're just still. Stillness is strange at first, because no one taught you how to rest. They taught you how to push, how to survive, how to run, but they never taught you how to do nothing without guilt. So now, in this moment, you're relearning what rest means. Close your eyes or leave them open. Either way, let the world blur. You don't need perfect conditions to relax. You just need permission. And here, you have it. Let your thoughts come. Let them swirl. Let them try to pull you back into the story. And then let them dissolve, like snowflakes melting in your hand before you even get to describe them. There is nothing to fix, nothing to control. You are not a project. You are a person who's finally allowed to rest. Feel your fingers. Not move them, just feel them, like they belong to you again. Notice your mouth. Is it clenched? Let it go. Notice your shoulders. They've carried so much, but not tonight. Tonight, they get to drop the armor. This is the space between thinking and dreaming, between remembering and forgetting, between being and being enough. You don't have to name your feelings, just feel them like waves on a quiet beach. Let them come, then go. You don't need to hold on. You don't need to perform for anyone, not even yourself. This is rest without expectations. This is safety without conditions. This is sleep that doesn't ask for anything in return. And if a thought lingers, don't chase it away. Just say, "You can stay, but I'm not going with you tonight." Then return to the blanket, to your breath, to this voice, to yourself. You are safe, not because everything's perfect, but because right now you are allowed to exist without needing to be useful. You are worthy of rest just by being alive. There's no story left to hear. There's no lesson left to learn. There's only you, and this moment, and this breath, and this silence, and all the space inside you that's finally been heard. If you sleep now, you won't miss anything. The most important part has already happened. You stayed, you listened, you softened, you remembered how to let go, and that's enough. Hey, it's me, the small voice inside, the one you forgot, the one you buried, because there was no room for me when things got loud and scary and fast. But I never left. I just got quiet. I watched you become strong. I watched you survive things that should have broken you. I watched you keep going when no one noticed how tired you were. I was always with you, even when you thought you were alone. I saw you cry in silence. I heard the things you never said. I felt every night you held in your fear so you could look brave. But I also remember who you were before the world told you to change. You used to feel everything. You used to believe the stars could hear you. You used to laugh without checking who was watching. You were soft and open and wild. And even though the world tried to harden you, you never really stopped being me. I know you've had to grow up. I know you had to make choices that felt like survival. But can I ask something now? Can we rest? Can we stop pretending that we're not tired? You don't have to protect me anymore. I'm not ashamed of being here. I'm not angry at you. I just miss you. I miss the version of us who didn't carry everything alone, who didn't need to be okay all the time, who cried and didn't apologize for it. If you let me speak again, I won't scream. I won't break anything. I'll just remind you how to feel things without drowning in them. I'll remind you what softness feels like when it's safe. I'll remind you how to sleep without guilt. You don't have to do it all tomorrow. You don't have to fix anything tonight. You just have to let me sit with you. That's all I ever wanted, to be let in again. I never stopped believing in you. Not even when you stopped believing in yourself. Not even when you said nothing matters anymore. Because I know you matter, even now, even when you're tired, especially when you're tired. So maybe tonight, you don't need more strength. Maybe tonight you just need to be held by yourself, by me, by the little voice you left behind but never truly lost. I'm still here, still hoping, still loving you with the kind of love that doesn't demand anything back. And when sleep comes, when your eyes finally surrender, I'll be there too. Not as a memory, not as a ghost, but as the part of you that stayed soft so you could survive. Good night, grown-up me. You did so good. Now let me take care of us for a while. Sleep deeply, safely, softly. I'll be here all night. Can you hear me? Not with your ears, with something deeper, the part of you that never speaks but always understands. I'm not a person, not a memory, not even a voice. I'm light, that's all. Light that has been waiting to reach you from the inside. I've been here since the beginning, since your first breath, since before you knew pain, before you knew fear. And I never left, even when everything else did. I was with you when you stood alone in the hallway, unsure if you were worth the hug you desperately needed. I was there when the silence after a slammed door was louder than any scream. I was in your breath when you kept going after you said, "I can't do this anymore." I didn't speak. I didn't fix it. I just stayed. Because that's what light does. I'm not here to change you. I'm here to remind you who you were before the noise, before you became someone the world could manage, before you learned to shrink. You think you're broken? You're not. You're tired. There's a difference. You think you're lost? You're not. You're just far from the center. But the center has never been far from you. You are not too much. You are not late. You are not wrong. You are exactly as you need to be for this moment, this breath, this stillness. Let go of the idea that you need to deserve peace. You don't earn air. You don't earn sunlight. You don't earn love. You are already enough for all of it. Even now, especially now. Feel the warmth behind your ribs. That's me. Feel the softness in your shoulders. That's me too. I'm not outside of you. I never was. I don't come from religion, or rules, or rituals. I come from stillness, from the space between your thoughts, from the pause before your next breath. And I don't need you to believe in me. I only need you to notice me. If you're still awake, you're not failing. You're unfolding, like a petal in the dark that never got to bloom in daylight. But that's okay. Some flowers only open at night. You don't need a new story. You don't need a new name. You just need space to feel, to soften, to stop. You've survived so much that you forgot how to live gently. You've braced for impact so often that you forgot what it feels like to relax your grip on life. You've kept your guard up for years waiting for someone to say, "It's okay now, you can rest." So I'm saying it, right now, in this silence, in this breath, you can rest. You don't need to check your back. You don't need to explain your tears. You don't need to make anyone understand. Your softness is not a weakness. It's the most ancient kind of strength. So here we are, you and me, breath and light. No more questions, no more fear. Just surrender. Let the thoughts go. Let the memories drift. Let everything else wait. You don't have to carry the light. You only need to let it carry you. And I will. Tonight, tomorrow, always. Even when you forget me, I will not forget you. You are not alone. You were never alone. Now close your eyes, not just to the room, but to everything that isn't love. Let only light remain. Let only peace remain. Let only rest remain. And in this rest, let yourself become weightless. You're asleep now, but part of you is listening. Not the mind, the body, the breath. It remembers sound even after the story ends, and it's still holding on to the quiet like a blanket pulled higher around your chest. So let me speak to that part of you, the one that stayed, not to think, not to fear, just to feel. Hey, you made it. Through the story, through the thoughts, through the silence. You arrived at the space beyond words, beyond needing, beyond effort. This is what peace really sounds like. It doesn't shout, it doesn't teach, it just surrounds you like a soft hum between the bones. Right now your heart is beating a little slower. Your chest is rising a little deeper. Your skin is no longer bracing for pain. Everything inside you has softened. Even your memories, even your fear. You didn't erase anything. You didn't escape. You just made room for stillness, room for rest, room to return to yourself. That's more than healing. That's coming home. Can I tell you something gentle? You are easier to love than you believe, even in the parts you hide, even in the mess you fear will be too much. There's nothing inside you that disqualifies you from peace. Nothing. Your body isn't confused. It's wise. The tightness in your chest. It's not weakness. It's your heart saying, I've been waiting for you to notice me again. So tonight, you did. You heard it. You saw it. You softened. That's all it wanted. The sleep you're falling into. It's not escape. It's return. Not to the past, not to trauma, but to truth. You are safe. You are soft. You are whole, even in the dark. So let the voice fade now, not as an ending, but as a sign that you've made it to the center. There's nothing more to hear, nothing more to do. Just breath, just presence, just you. Your body will know when to wake up. It will know how to hold this quiet feeling, even when the day begins. And when it does, when you open your eyes again, you'll still be whole, still soft, still home, because you never left. Good night from after the light. I'll stay with you, even in the quiet. Sleep well, sleep slow, sleep deep. You're still here? How strange. After all this silence, all this light, all this peace, you're still awake. Or maybe you're not. Maybe this part isn't meant to be heard while awake. Maybe this part was meant for those who drifted just enough to open a different kind of door. There's something you forgot. Something we didn't say in the story. Something that stayed behind the glass with Annabelle. You see, everyone who visited her thought they left her behind. They didn't. She doesn't need to move. She doesn't need to speak. She only needs to be remembered. And now, you do. You gave her your attention. You gave her your silence. You gave her the one thing she waits for: space. Inside your thoughts. Inside your night. Inside your dream. She didn't follow you. You invited her. I told you. Annabelle doesn't knock. She waits for someone who listens too deeply, who softens too much, who lets her name echo in the dark space between their breaths. That echo? It's still here. It's in the pause after your exhale. It's in the corner of the room where the shadows shift just slightly when you think they don't. Don't open your eyes. That would be rude. She's watching. Not cruel, just curious. She wants to see if you'll dream of her tonight, if you'll remember her tomorrow. But don't worry, she never does anything the first night. She just listens, like you did, quietly, patiently. She waits. They locked her in a case, yes, but she was never trapped, only preserved. And now that her name has been spoken so softly, for so long, by you, she's part of you now. Maybe you'll forget. Maybe you'll sleep. Maybe this was just a story. But if you wake up suddenly at 3:12 a.m., don't look at the foot of your bed. And if you do, don't ask if the doll moved. She didn't. You did. You crossed the line between silence and presence, between story and invitation. Sleep well, if you still can, and if not, just remember, she only becomes real when you believe she isn't.
Thank you.